Hello everyone, welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. So today is one of those days, every month or 6 weeks or sometimes 2 months, I go back to basics for all the new people out there on my channel. So if you're brand new to resin, this is the very first technique that I got down that looked pretty. So I'm going to do a fall inspired geode style coaster, and instead of a white and a color, I'm going to do brown and orange. So we're going to mix it up, and I follow a recipe that I use that seems to work. Watch now that I said that it's not going to work today, but it usually works all the time. Each one of these coasters holds 3.5 ounces, so the two together hold 6. However, I don't want to fill them all the way up, so I'm going to hold back 1 from each one. So I only need 4 ounces for the actual geode. The other 2 ounces is going to be clear, so that's no big deal. So on the 4 ounces, and you could do this figure on however many you're going to do. Of the 4 ounces that I mix up for the coloring, always half of it I save for clear to pour into the center to make the effect. So automatically, because I'm doing 4 ounces, I'm holding back 2 ounces in clear. That leaves me 2 ounces to put my color in. Now, because the dark colors that always should go around the edge, in my opinion, they don't have to. You put a very little bit of dark around the edge. This is how I do it. So I only need a 1/2 ounce for these 2 coasters of this one. So that leaves me 1.5 ounces not mixed, and that's going to be the orange, the lighter color. So you want a lot more of your lighter color, a lot less of your darker color, and half of whatever you mixed up for the clear to pour into the center. So I'm going to be using my epoxy resin because it's thin. It has 40 to 50 minutes to work, and we want it to work as long as possible to do all those cool effects in there. And this is going to be our top of the coaster. The bottom of the coaster is not going to be beautiful. You can make it pretty by putting a layer of clear on the bottom and having a crackle effect. But I'm not going to do that today because I want to save that clear layer for my doming layer, if you know what I mean. I don't have a ton of space in here. So if I do a clear layer and then these, I really won't have much space to do the top coat. So because I know I want this to top, I'm not going to worry about the bottom the way it looks. It's just going to look like rings of color without doing a clear. So I do have videos on how to do both in one coaster so you can have a reversible coaster, but that's not what I'm going to do today because I don't want to complicate this. This is for the newbies. So I'm going to mix up my 4 ounces of resin and be right back. I've got my 4 ounces mixed up and I've split it already. So I kept 2 of my clear. This is about 1/2 ounce for the brown and 1.5 ounces for the orange. I did take out this crushed glass just in case my center doesn't close. I might put some crushed glass in, and I'm gonna let this drain in here and see if it gives us any effect to kind of just show you what happens. But there's not a whole lot draining off of it, so I'm just gonna move this out of the way. And you want enough mica powder. You don't want to really go light on the mica powder because you need the effect from it. When the clear hits it, that's what we need it to do. Don't go crazy heavy either. There's like, you could do too little and you could do too much. So don't get your resin really super thick with mica powder. But make sure that you mix it in really well. See, this is just a tiny little bit in a tiny little cup. So I probably should have mixed it in a bigger cup. And these are not my favorite, and I have my favorite cups in the cabinet, safe and sound and clean. So, you know, that's why I'm using this one. Because I completely forgot I had my little silicone ones now that I'm wondering why I'm mixing in this thing. So I'm just gonna mix up brown and orange and clear. Now, if you try more than 2 colors, you're going to lose one. That's the way it happens. I've tried it so many times. You always think that the colors are going to merge together beautifully, but they don't. I always lose my second or third color. Not the second. I always get 2 colors. I never get 3. So, I mean, feel free to try it. If you find a way around it, great. Let me know, put it on my Facebook group, but I cannot figure it out. Sometimes it'll work if you layer your colors on top of each other, but I'm not gonna layer them. Like I said, this is for a lot of you beginners, an easy technique that anybody should be able to do without a problem. So make sure you put enough mica powder in, like I said, and make sure you mix it really well. Now don't go mixing a whole ton of extra resin, because you're going to be tempted to pour it, and you're not going to want to do that, because usually in my top coat I'll put a little bit of sparkle dust or something to jazz it up, but you definitely want a clear coat over it for the finishing product, because it's really, really pretty when it's done. Hopefully these two colors aren't too similar, and they will be distinct in the coaster. Now generally I always do a color and white. If you go back through my channel, 99% of my geodes are a color and a white. But today, in fall theme, that's why I'm doing two colors. So, well, that's not a whole lot of resin, so I don't know that it's gonna do anything. So all we're gonna do, no need to put it through any vacuum chambers for this. All I'm gonna do is take this and pour a thin stream around the edge. I know it's not going to look like a lot, but your dark color is going to definitely take shape once we pour the clear in. So that's why I only mixed up about a ½ ounce of the dark. I wanted to see a lot of my orange in here, and try to make it circular, just so you have a better outcome of the geode style won't be lopsided if you can try to keep it circular. So I'm just going to use up the rest of this. There's not much left in here. I'm trying to keep a circle shape, even though it's really, really on the edge. These are just things that I've learned over the years that works for these. I've made these so many times, and yeah, I've had fails when I'm messing around trying new things, but this is the technique that usually always works for me. I'm just going to scrape it out because I do want to use everything I mixed. I only mixed 4 ounces, and I need 4 to get them halfway full. So measure your coasters, whichever ones you decide to do, with water, or however you measure them, so you know how much to mix minus your 1 ounce top coat. Now I'm going to take my orange. I'm going to go right next to that. If it fills it in, it fills it in. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm going to try to keep it equal in each coaster to get a nice matching set. And you want them touching. And then this one, hopefully, I'm just winging it. I didn't measure. You can measure each one out so you know which one is, so that they would be equal, but I'm just gonna go by eye. And a little more in here. Like I said, if they touch in the center, great, it's fine too. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, depending on how much resin that I've mixed up. But keeping your circle shape is mostly important. It doesn't matter if it touches in the middle, then obviously it would be the circle. I'm just trying to get every little drop. Now, if you leave that little spot right there, you're going to see that. How it happens, I don't know, but you will. All right, so that one's getting out of shape. What I'm gonna do is pour this one first, and you want half in this one. So I'm just gonna see how much I used, a little bit more. That was half. Now I'm gonna pour the other half in here. And I may have an off center. See, that center's kind of off. That's what happens if you don't keep your circle tight. It may not matter in the end. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. But if I really wanted something in my center like that glass, I don't know that it would look good at this point. So I'm just gonna watch it move. I'll put you on a little time lapse and you can watch it move and see what it does. As you can see, it's not closed all the way. Actually, this one looks like I can put some in here. If you want it closed more, take a syringe, stick it in your resin, and suck from the center, and it will close it a little bit more until you're happy. Let me grab a little cup to stick this in. And if you want any more out, just suck a little bit more. I'm going to try to get it from this angle. That looks good. So I think since I have a little bit of a center, we're going to put some of this crushed crystal, or this isn't crushed crystal, it's crushed glass in gold. Yeah, and I just try not to get it on your striations, because as soon as I touch those to get them out, it's going to kind of mess it up a little bit. And I'm going to just push them underneath the resin. These are heavy, so they're not going to go floating away. Now, if you use glitter or something like that, glitter will float away. See how I got them right here where I don't want them? Gently, or not at all, because you will move those striations and you can't fix it. I'm trying so hard not to move him. This one right here, I can't believe I dropped it. Maybe I'll just push it under. There you go. Just push it under. I'm just gonna put a tiny little bit more. I want to be able to see it, even though it sank. I want to be able to see it when it's done. I'm just trying to get them equal. Not too bad. I mean, that design looks really good. I'm so glad we could see the orange, but like I was telling you, see how much brown you're seeing, and I barely put a little line? You do not need you only need 1/4 of an ounce for like a 4-inch coaster per thing, because I only did 1/2 ounce for 2 of them. And look at all the orange. I mean, it just kind of envelops it. It's really super cool. That's why this is a good technique. If you're brand new and you don't know what to make that you could sell, you could definitely sell these, and you don't even barely have to have any experience. I'm just pulling that in right there, and I'm going to cover it up with a little bit of glitter right there. Just don't go too high with your centerpiece, because you have to be able to cover it over with our top coat. All right, that's it till they're cured. All right, ladies and gents, they're ready for their final coat. So I mix up 3 ounces just because I like to have more instead of less, and I want to dome them good. But look at the striations in these babies. They are beautiful. And like I told you in the backs are not beautiful. There's just the rings of color. So this is definitely our front. I'm going to put in my gold sparkle dust because gold goes with these. So I'm just going to put a tiny, tiny little bit, just like my crushed crystal. It's just gold, same thing. You don't want to overdo it, and I hope I didn't just overdo it. And mix it in really well. Now you can put this through the vacuum chamber if you want to get the bubbles out. I think I'm going to take my chances and pour it because it's so thin. I'll be able to pop the bubbles. This is my 4-hour fast cure because I don't need it to move like I did the epoxy. So I'm just going to take my chances and hope not only does my glitter hide any bubbles, but I didn't overdo it. I hope I didn't just overdo it. Now, I will give you a tip, and I learned this the hard way. If your first layer is not 100% cured through and you just poured your clear resin over it like I just did, you are going to see a huge ring mark and it's going to ruin your bottom layer. I've done it. I have a video on it. Don't do it. Learn from my mistakes. So that took an 1.5 ounces. So I guess I'm glad I did 3 ounces. So I don't think I'm going to have any extras. That's a first. Now if you dome these really well, you won't have any trimming to do. But if you don't, you are going to have trimming to do. And I'm going to dome these because I still have resin in my cup. And these need it. So let me go at eye level to pour the rest. Wow, I did not expect that to take all 3 ounces to the last drop. I have 0 extras for you guys today. And then you could take a alcohol, long neck lighter, whatever you want to pop your bubbles. Maybe I'll spritz it with alcohol, but don't do it the opposite way. You'll start a fire. That looks really, really pretty. I will get them cured and we'll get them out of the mold. They are cured and ready. There's not a big reveal, but I do now realize I did my math wrong, you guys. So each one held 3.5 ounces. I added it up in my head to 6. It was 7. So that's why the last 3 ounces was perfect. But because I felt really bad for not having any extras for you, especially for my girl Renee, that I pulled out the beads that I have been making with the molds. And these, the person who sent me the bead molds also sent me this little kit, and I haven't used it yet. So I pulled out all my beads and I put together a ton of new keychains check these out. So these were really fun, and this could be so addicting. I am not going out and buying beads, so I'm going to have to make them to control myself because I could do this all day long. And some of them I had to pull off and redo because they didn't all fit the way I wanted them, but there's one of them. I put these little pretty rhinestone things inside, and then I added a tassel. And here's one similar, just a little bit different. This one has blue. These are all on eBay. These are all listed on there if you want them. Here is this one with black and blue and my colorful little beads. Oh my gosh, these were so much fun. Here's one similar, just a little bit different. Here is pink and blue, if you like pink and blue. Oh my gosh, these were so much fun. I'm glad I remembered to do these. So these are your extras for today, even though I didn't pour them today, but I am definitely making more beads. If I knew this, how much fun that was, I would have made these a long time ago. And this is the last one for today. I ran out of beads that would have looked good together. So that is that. Let's get these out and see what we're working. Well, these are pretty much done. They're domed really well. I don't need to do anything to the edge. I don't have to trim it, nothing. Look at the glitter in there. I might have gone a little overboard, but I don't think I ruined them. I'll probably take my paint pen and go around the edge. Here's the back. I told you they would not be pretty this way, but let's get this down pat, you new beginners, before we get crazy and getting a double-sided coaster for you. And this one, this might be the one that I poured a tiny little bit, but I don't think it was enough to do anything. No, it wasn't. So you could see it was a little bit of crackle in there, but the whole back could have been crackled if we wanted it to be. So let me go get my paint pen and put a little gold trim around that edge. So all I do is take my pen, and it's got a chisel tip, and I just put half of the tip on this edge, and I just follow it all the way around. If you decide you don't like it, you take a little bit of alcohol and you rub it right off. Now, the only way, I know I'm going to get these questions, the only way that this will be sealed in and not rub off is if you do a top coat. So you would have to top coat it and seal in that paint. I'm not going to do that on these because whoever buys them may not want this, and they could take it right off. And see how quick that goes? You just put the center of your chisel tip on the edge, and you'll have a very even line going all the way around it. And these are perfect for the autumn season. What do you think? I think they're gorgeous. Again, pick any two colors. I wouldn't go crazy with three because you're going to lose one. You lose your middle, and your edges move to the middle, and your middle moves to the edge. So your third color gets kind of buried up underneath this center. It happens every time. It's so weird. So I'm going to just go ahead and get this one finished. I'm going to thank you all for coming in today. Again, you guys are the best audience ever. I love every one of you, and I will see you tomorrow. So stick around for those pictures I'm going to get for you, and you guys have a blessed day. Bye, everyone.